Greetings, family, kinfolk, folk out there. The Emerald Green Collective back on this. I don't know how it is for y'all, but semi cloudy Tuesday. We hope that you are well, and we hope that you enjoy this conversation as it relates to stress. It is Stress Awareness Month, and all of the things that are happening out there in the cosmos. Stay tuned. You know what I was thinking when we went to our theme? Was I muted that whole time? Was I muted? Could y'all hear me?
No, we didn't hear you.
I looked down. I was like, wait, the mute button was on, but I don't remember muting. Oh, you never took it off of mute. So, hey, y'all. Hey.
We heard you.
Yeah, that kind of, I was going to say that kind of like, wait, I came in, early to make sure everything was everything. And still, it's just like, you got to unmute. You got to unmute. So what I was saying before we brought in the theme is this very, I know we keep using the word auspicious, right? But this very unique time. And, as it relates to the very commercialized eclipse, the solar flares, not so much retrogrades being commercialized like that, but just how that may look for you on an independent level. Again, your feelings, just how you're managing. But I hear if you've been doing the work, you would be less impacted. So before we showed this video's about 10 minutes long. We were kind of debating whether we should come in and go back. But y'all just let me know. Maybe give me a hand signal like, wait, stop. I will stop. So I just jumped right in, y'all. I'm Coach Shayola, along with my co-hosts, Coach Shante and Coach Latoya, and we are the Emerald Green Collective. Coach Lorraine is coming in, but we want to make sure that she doesn't burn children food, so we're going to just wait for her to get here. Mommyhood, it comes at you. So anyway, ladies, is there anything that you would like to share just as it relates to all of the energy that's currently happening on the planet, or anything to the sort?
Yes, I would say that I definitely felt the energy way before April. I will say that, and I'm already seeing it just from my own life, and then also just observing the masses and how people are handling this energy of the eclipse, but also of the retrograde. Because we went, I think maybe a few months or 2 or 3 months without any retrogrades, which I think was great, which was awesome. That doesn't mean things weren't still happening, but I will say that it seemed like a little more calmer and more, it just seemed a little more calmer from my experience of it. But I definitely, used to have a fear over Mercury retrogrades. But then as I began to observe myself and get a better understanding of what Mercury retrograde is all about. Of course, and I have embraced it. Even like I didn't really even find out until maybe a year ago that I was born during a Mercury retrograde. So so even with that, it's like normally you're supposed to do better when you have Mercury retrograde if you were born during the Mercury retrograde. So it's just quite interesting. I just use it because I know what it is about. I utilize it to my benefit, even when it's challenging. I try not to get frustrated or aggravated when things don't go the way it seems, when electronics act crazy. But one thing that I did notice is that when I used to work in like corporate in the office, a lot of times during the Mercury retrograde, the computer systems would go down. I always noticed that. So that was one thing that was so interesting. But I was aware that, oh yeah, because of retrograde is probably influencing that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to remember like how I was when I was in corporate. I probably was just so plugged into the matrix, didn't even realize that the computers were going down. So Coach Shantae, anything for you to add before we jump into this video?
The energies right now seem to be native for me. I have a lot of Aryan energy, and most of the planets are in Aries at this time. So I've got springtime in my blood veins. So I want to just be gone and in the wind, exploring, adventuring, just getting into nature and out of the house, just getting involved with the world. Like that's where I want to be right now. So my energy is very big, very active, very vibrant right now. So I'm just throughout this period actively seeking moment by moment sometimes that just grounding energy to keep me focused, to keep me steadfast on things that I need to be doing right now. That's been like my biggest thing lately is just staying grounded, staying tethered, staying rooted, because spring can definitely make me flighty and I'll be everywhere. All
I love that staying grounded piece. I think that's the best advice that I was going to give for this whole, segment. And I'm not sure if I said this when my mic was unmuted. This is also Stress Awareness Month. So this is one of the reasons why we're, pulling in the stress aspect, because at the end of the day, it really is a great time to be alive. And with all the things that are happening, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm here to witness it all. So hopefully y'all are journaling. So this video is by Empress Karen Rose, and I thought that it was appropriate. She well, anyway, I was going to say that she said that she would recommend herbs, and we'll recommend some at the end since it's not included in this video. But hopefully things will make sense to you. Hopefully it will resonate. Take what you need and leave the rest. But, we're going to listen with an open ear. All right, here we go, y'all. Here we go.
Everyone, how are you? I'm beginning to like these Monday shares. It feels like a great start to the week and the energies of the week. I'm spending Sundays a little bit more in the particular energy that I'm going to be talking about today. So, I always say that the universe is benevolent, and I will continue to say that. We are coming off of a Libra eclipse, which was the eclipse of recognizing the wisdom that we have, recognizing the voices of our ancestors and how they have been speaking to us, and really about prioritizing our relationship with the ancestors and spirit. Then we're entering into Mercury retrograde. This is the period where we have to stop, take stock before we open our mouth, and really see, is there a need to speak? Not only is it Mercury retrograde, but it's Mercury retrograde in Aries, people. That means it's a season of action, and we're being told that before you act, stop, listen, really be present to the energy that's around you even before we speak. Why? We have about 5 to 6 planets that will be in Aries during a solar eclipse in Aries with a North Node in Aries. It is a very definitive time in our life as people, as humanity, as individuals. I should say that different. As individuals, as humanity, as the earth, and as the universe. It is a very defined time for us. And this solar eclipse is super important for us. Now, there's a lot of fear being generated around this solar eclipse. But what I want to remind you is that each of us chose to be alive in this moment on Earth today. So what that is saying to you is that we knew that there would be a time as we're living in, and our souls chose to come here at this time. Why? For most of us that are awakening and noticing this and tapping into the wisdom of our ancestors, we chose to come here to elevate our spiritual consciousness. We chose to come here to heal the earth in this time that we're experiencing it through the works that we're doing that elevates consciousness. And fear and doubt and self-hatred and guilt and blame takes away from why we're here. It takes away from our purpose. It takes away from that energy. It is the opposing energy of purpose to sit here and be in fear at this time. At this time, yes, there are significant things that are happening around us and will continue to happen around us, even to the earth itself. But our structures are shaking and being completely falling apart. Leadership is falling apart. There's new leadership that's arising. There's new leadership that should be arriving. The leaders that we've entrusted are obviously not the leaders that can lead us into the next evolution of where we need to go. As a planet, we are shifting dimensions. And so things will be shaken off and there will be hard times. Yes, they will. And we are here to heal folks, hold folks, encourage people through this time, not to spread more fear and more worry to folks. Worry and fear are vibrations that the body cannot hold. Our anxiety, our nervous system, they lead us further into a path of destruction and ill health to hold these vibrations in us. So the practical way, or the way of waking up to this, is really noticing how you yourself are stepping more into your personal power so that you can show up more for your community in all the ways that people are needing to be held right now. So with this solar eclipse and this and all the other planets that will be following this Aryan energy, what is this saying to us? It is an opportunity to stand in your power. I love the fact that Mercury is retrograde during this time, because what it's saying to us is stand in the power of presence. Stand in your power in a very different way than we have seen other people choose to stand in their power. Stand in your power doesn't mean to be the loudest and scream from the top of your lungs that you are the most powerful, and then demonstrate that by how you show up with your weapons and how you show up with your words. And it does not mean that at this time. And if that is the way that nations and people are choosing to stand in their power, those are also systems that will topple. Standing in your power right now means there's a power of presence, there's a power of I am wise. I have gained the wisdom that I am needing for this exact moment in life. It is saying to you, stand in the value, Libra, value system that you've created for yourself. What are your values now that you have been creating for yourself? And that can include land, that can include medicine, that can include you know what the way in which we show up in our lives. What is the value system that has been guiding you? Is the value system to replace the medical industrial model? Well, then stand in that power right now. Is your value system to replace the banking system? Stand in that power of your ancestral knowledge, of the knowledge that you've gained from multiple lifetimes, like I've been talking to you about. Tap into that knowledge and stand in that power. Stand in the power of presence means that when you walk into somewhere, you don't have to demonstrate to anybody how powerful you are. They will look at you and they will just feel that power coming from you. So with this solar eclipse, we could learn telepathy. We can be in the place of, we have already been practicing telepathy, right? And we can get even better at telepathy during this solar eclipse. We can become more clairvoyant by not speaking what is the first thing that's on our mind, by really standing and listening, taking things in, and then moving from a place of power. Aries is about being independent while we are still interdependent. But in interdependent communities, we need folks to know who they are and what they are bringing to the table. So with this solar eclipse, expect lots of opportunity for you to stand in that quiet power of presence as systems around us fall apart. There is grief, there is sadness, there is lots of anger. Aries, fire, 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 fire. Year of the dragon. All these planets are in Aries. It is a fiery, angry, rage-filled season where people will make huge power plays. Your power play is to master your spiritual skills, master telepathy, master clairvoyance, master connecting to yourself and your ancestors, master what your life could look like if you took fear out of the equation, master what your life could look like if we weren't doubting ourselves. Who would we be if we were fearless and without doubt? And I assure you that we would be much different, and that we are here to uplift this earth, uplift humanity, uplift our communities from doubt, depression, and this weightiness that is coming. It's going to be weighty. With destruction, there is weight. It's going to be weighty. But we have got to know who we are. And what better time to know who you are and to connect to who you are than Aries season, with all these planets in Aries and an Aryan solar eclipse pushing us outside of ourselves and creating such an opportunity for us to really step into our power.
So I know that was a lot, and I hope that it, let me not share screen anymore. Boom. And I see that Coach Lorraine is in the building. So I don't know, kind of always wanted to say that. We in the building, y'all. Welcome in, Coach. So again, I know that was loaded, but I felt like that is exactly where I feel this conversation can grow from, and that, you know, there are some, for lack of a better word, heavy times ahead, and we have to make sure that we don't allow stress to really knock us off of our game. So I open the floor to all of these beautiful women. Beautiful, just beautiful. What would you like to add, ladies? What were your takeaways? What came up for you? Or what do you think that people should know?
Oh, I just wanted to say greetings and excuse me for stuffing my face. But I'm very late today with all of the things, and I'm trying not to eat past 7. And as you can see, I'm already past the mark, but I'm just gonna continue to scarf it down in between speaking. So I missed most of it, so I didn't have anything to add as far as that is concerned. But I did just want to say hey. So if you ladies wanted to add something as it relates to the video.
Well, thank you for coming in to add. We appreciate that. We do. Coach Shantae, Coach Latoya?
I would say that for me, what stood out was mastering the spiritual, I think, practices. I don't know her exact wording of it, but that stood out to me and explains why, early this rising, like at 12:30, I was up cleaning, striving to clean up and get organized, and I was already on that, the day before that. So that explains that I took a spiritual bath. I was doing all types of stuff. I, had the desire to commune with my ancestors. So all of that was in alignment. I'm definitely feeling the energy for sure. And, when Coach Shantae brought up the Aryan energy, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm like fire. I'm already a fire person myself, so that explains why I'm like energized. So yeah, I really enjoyed that video. It really just confirmed everything that I've already been feeling, and I definitely I like the video. That's all I have to say. So that's it.
Shout out to Empress Karen Rose, always coming through with a word. Coach Shantae, what about you? What stood out for you?
So a couple of things stood out for me, but one thing stood out for me. I think I've watched this video twice, and the same thing stood out both times, and that is, this is a season of stepping into and claiming your power. And I have definitely been feeling that energy a lot as this new year came in, and just finishing up our Sacred Woman journey, stepping into this new chapter, moving forward with so much clarity, then coming into Aries season, and it has just been that high, let's get it, let's get out there and make things happen type energy. But at the same time, still have that, I just want to go to the beach. I don't even want to be responsible. I just go somewhere and do something. So I'm in between those two things, but that go is like, let's go until we get somewhere to relax, or we're going to go until we get something accomplished. So I'm toggling in between those two things. But I also realized that the book that I was looking for today was under my desk, and that is Karen Rose's The Spiritual Herbalism book, or the Practice of Spiritual Herbalism. And one of the things that I like about this book is the way she has it broken down. So it's broken down into chapters. There's 8 chapters, and it's circulatory health, respiratory health, digestive health, liver health, sexual health, skin health, nervous system, and immune health. So in the section that she talks about immune health, she has several herbs that are listed. So as we are moving through this period of eclipses, retrogrades, and just regular everyday stress, these are some things that we can add to our medicine cabinet to address that. So I'm going to read this little section. It says, plants for the nervous system. Nervous system plants are as diverse and dynamic as the nervous system itself. Stress can manifest in many places in the body, so our plants reflect that specificity. They are plants that support the central nervous system, the brain, and the spinal cord. Some plants work to support the enteric nervous system found in the gut. Others help the peripheral nervous system found in our extremities. Based on what the body is experiencing, we can choose the plant support we need. So one of the plants that she lists, or I'll just list them off for you. Skullcap, lemon balm, chamomile, oak straw, tulsi, passion flower, catnip. And those are the ones that she specifically highlights in this book to deal with stress. In another book, they were talking specifically about adaptogens. But when it comes to herbs, they all have different energetics. They work on the body in different ways. So, based on your underlying conditions and other issues that you may have going on, there may be an herbal combination that works like gangbusters for me, but does nothing to address what you have going on. So, I always say when it comes to herbs, do your own research, experiment with one herb at a time, see how that affects your body. There are certain things that like we all have access to at all times. Peppermint, rosemary, those types of things, those are also considered to be good support for the nervous system. And those two specifically are things that we generally can easily get to. And most people don't have any type of reaction to those types of herbs specifically. So again, do your own research, but those are some of the herbs that were recommended in the art and practice of spiritual herbalism.
Thank you so much for that. And right on time with her book. That was a divine alignment. And I was like, oh, we have herbs. We sure did. We had exactly the herbs that she recommended. What came to me was definitely the chamomile. And, just as it relates to the nervous system, a great little combo is if you don't have high blood pressure or hypertension, is celery and lemon. That's a great stabilizer for just calming. And it's a diuretic, right? So it's going to give you that flow so that you can pass your urine. So, really getting into your practice, I think will be the best way to navigate through all of the rigmarole that we are to and have been, right, experiencing. I think that this go around though is like that and I think like just the eighth on, just more people realizing, wait, I can do this. I don't have to ask permission. I have this passion. I have this skill. I love this thing. Just seeing more and more people step into that is just going to be, a beautiful thing. I think that that's what's going to cover the heart with so much love, right? Because I actually love what I'm doing. I want the same for everyone else. So, just as it relates to stress, as Coach Shantae alluded to earlier on, grounding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, too, just to veggie back off of what both of you guys were saying, but Coach Shantae, when you started with the Aryan energy of that, like feeling of like, the productivity and like wanting to go and do all the things. And it definitely struck me probably like a week before April started, and it was a huge shift, especially coming from being on like a break for almost all of last year. And so for me, it kind of came out of nowhere because there was no plan to pick things back up. There was no plan to be like, oh, now I'm going to be productive and do all of the things. It was just like all of a sudden, I found myself getting back into a flow of how I was when I was like a very, very busy person. And it was like, since I was putting that energy out, that was all of what has been coming to me too. So now people are calling like, oh, I need this, I need that, and blah, blah, blah. And so it has been a thing of trying to find balance and not right, avoiding stress, right? So even tonight, being late to the call and thinking, because now I've been trying to be better with my time management and like literally putting everything onto my schedule. And that helps because so that other people can't just randomly, book a block of my time. And I'm like, I'm actually busy, but it's because I didn't have on my schedule that I was busy. Now I have to, maneuver and figure all of those things out. But I know even like with this, it was like, I'm on the mad dash, like, oh, I gotta, because I went and got my hair twisted today. So I'm in there counting down the minutes, like, I can't be under this dryer for too long because I gotta go pick up these kids and I gotta get them and then I gotta stop here and then I gotta take them over here and I gotta cook and then I gotta be on this call at 7. And, so it was just like all of this. But I know right before I even came onto the call, it was like, you know what, let me just take a few deep breaths and kind of just get centered for a second. And that really, really helped me. And I think even having, because you were mentioning some of the things that I guess that are like helpful for combating stress. And so definitely some of the herbs. I think, breath work, getting into our meditation, any type of like muscle relaxation techniques, even I think having like a good social support and connection, because it definitely helped me when I put in the chat, like, oh, I'm like going crazy. And Coach Shayla is like, just don't burn the baby's food. Like, we'll be here, don't worry about it. And so it was like, even just having that where you have other people who are very understanding of what it is, that you could possibly be going through, and are able to lend that support. And so I think also diet, physical activity, the exercising. That's one of the things that I don't work out per se, but I do yoga, and I can definitely feel the difference when I don't do it. It's one of those things, like, because I start my day with yoga, and it does just help to kind of set the pace for the day. Like, everything just kind of seems a lot more manageable. I can take things, more in stride. And on days that I don't do yoga, I do notice that I'm like more susceptible to like my stress triggers, So yeah, I definitely suggest doing any type of, physical activities. My big one is boundaries, setting boundaries with other people, right? Because it's usually not you that stresses yourself out, it's other people that stress you out, right? And also trying to conform to what their level of importance, right? Just because something's important for you does not all of a sudden, make that at the top of my list. And really being able to set that stage and being like, okay, I understand that you're having a crisis, but don't bring that energy over here. We're crisis free at this moment. So definitely asserting those boundaries. I was talking to one of my friends earlier today, because they were kind of experiencing that with their clients. And I was like, well, my clients can't just call me because my phone stays on do not disturb. And it had been a running joke for probably like a year. And at one point, I actually tried to take the do not disturb off. And then Apple was like, no, you're just going to be stuck with it. And I'm like, oh, I guess that's fine too. And I think it was on purpose, because I needed that, because I realized that even though I don't want to be disturbed, it's very easy for me to fall into like, if somebody calls, for me to just, get all caught up in their stuff, even though I'm like, I got 8 million things to do right now. And, none of them had anything to do with you. And so like creating those boundaries that are like automatic, ones that you don't have to engage in, so that it's like there's already that buffer there, you know what I mean? Because by the time I look at my phone and see a missed call, I'm like, you might want to call you back, maybe not, maybe next week, whatever that is. But definitely those are some of the things that I guess I use to help me combat some stress. And I guess if things get too out of hand and too stressful, seeking help, because that could be a thing. A lot of times we try to do things ourselves, and we think that we can handle everything and do it all. But, the reality is, none of us got that S on our chest, even though we be trying to wear it all the time. We need to just go ahead and give that up and let that go. And then that's just it.
Yeah.
And there was something else you said, Coach Shante. I can't recall, but I remembered. It reminded me of something I posted the other day. It was about something around this area and energy, as well, as far as this like feeling more, and maybe it was you, Coach Shayla, that said like, oh, like more confident, like equipped, like, oh, I can do this, I can have a dream, a vision, or this, that, and the third, and really just getting rid of that like imposter syndrome. And the post that I made was like, oh, imposter syndrome is out. Like, what was it? I forget what the descriptive word was, but it was basically like confidence across the max is in, and I've spent some time more recently, like getting into a space where, I shift my frame of thought into thinking like the most positive thing out ever. Right. So it's like, oh, if I'm like, oh, I want to make $50,000 this month or whatever. And in my mind, I'm just like, really, where is it going to come from? How are we going to do it? Blah, 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 whatever. Shifted immediately to that point of like, oh no, I got it. Like this $50,000 is coming this month, regardless. And it was like, it's very hard for me to stay in that moment, but there are times where like I can literally feel the like, oh, this is what it feels like to like not have the doubt, to not have the fear, to like, walk in that like real confidence, and I'm like, I'm trying to channel that, like, oh, I need to keep it for longer than, 3 minutes at a time. But it's been very interesting to even just notice that shift when it comes, being like, okay, this is something. But
I love that. I really, really do. That reminded me of a real quick Abraham Hicks video that I was watching, where she talked about how we attract what we desire into our life based on the vibrational frequency of our thoughts. And when you find yourself shifting paradigms or shifting from one type of thoughts to another, it is a bit challenging to hold that frequency of that higher feeling. And she said, instead of trying and then be like, oh, well, I can't do it, so I quit, the more often you are aware of it, the longer you can stay in that state. So that when you start to deal with certain situations over time, you'll start to notice that your initial reaction is that new frequency, that elevated reaction and response. And it's not that same low frequency that you had before. And it's one of those things that happens over time. Like you commit to it in the beginning and it just becomes habit. Like, oh, that's not what I want to think about. Think about this. And then it's less over here and more over here. And then one day you wake up and you're like, ooh, that just stressed me. Lord have mercy, that stressed me. Let me go this way. And then you start looking around like, oh, I went this way. And that wasn't even a thought. That wasn't even part of the narrative of my reality. And then you start naturally going that direction. And I'll say one last thing before I turn the mic over. I talk about all the time when I do my yoga classes. In 2022, I was teaching a winter wellness series, and I had just finished doing breath work with everyone. And I was like, I'm going to go outside because I haven't walked around out in my garden, in my yard, and blah, 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 blah. And I walk out my front door and I'm like, I need to move these coolers because I don't have any DoorDash deliveries coming today, so they don't need to be here. But they had water in them. So I was like, now I got to move these coolers, dump this water out. So I pick up the first cooler, move it, dump the water out. I pick up the second cooler and I look down, there's a snake curled up beside my front door. Literally, my front door and the snake is here. Right here. And said, you're going to have to move from right here, little buddy. You cannot come in my house. So I got a stick and I started shooing him away. And it wasn't until after the experience was done did I feel my nervous system go into that panic mode that, oh my God, there was a snake right here. You just got rid of it. And it was after the fact that the panic set in because my nervous system was already in a very calm, very relaxed state. And when that extremely stressful experience came up, my body naturally said, in my most Bob Ross voices, now how are you going to handle these things? What's the best way to get this little snake away from your front door? He doesn't need to be there. We're going to just move him. It's all right. He's not going to hurt anybody. We're not going to hurt him. We're just going to let this little buddy go on out into nature and find his mommy again. You go right ahead, little snake. And that was that. Afterwards, it was, oh my God. But it was very Bob Ross. It's like very cheap.
I mean, listen, that is what is necessary, honey. Just chill, right? Because at the end of the day, everything ends up being okay, right? Like no matter what it is, it's just like, it's okay. So,
right.
As we travel through this grandiose time, again, if you are, pure of heart, moving right, this is going to be like Jupiter vibrations. But it's, you know, again, it's going to be some things that you're going to really have to manage, you know, and taking in your herbs, getting in your exercise or your yoga, your hydrotherapy, whether it's a healing bath, whether it's an enema, whether it's juicing, again, that celery and the lemon. What comes, I've looked down at my notes, halt, fast, right? So halt, you never want to be hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, right? Because those things can create energies, if you will, that you have to manage through. So those are the things that we want to strive to stay away from. And fasting, we want to, especially during the eclipse time period, and maybe even the 40 days after that, watch your food intake, abstain from alcohol, abstain from sex, even if it's just that day, so that you can transform, right? So you just dealing with you know, no other entities and things to that nature to complicate, you know, these next days and upcoming weeks. So before we close out, anything to add, ladies? Anything to add? This was great. This was, you know, we want to keep the conversation going, and definitely comment. Even if you comment after the fact, I think we can still see it. I hope that we can, but we would love for you to join the conversation. We're here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, and we are still in the midst of our early bird special of our spring detox. We are resetting. We are rejuvenating. We are restoring. We are relaxing. As Coach Shantae reminded, we want the harmony. We want to have that progress, but we also want to chill. You don't always want to be in work mode, and you can't always be in, you know, chill mode. Nice harmony to it. So yes, you want to visit our website, theimmergreencollective.com, or if you visit our Instagram page, you can click on our link tree. That deal special ends, I think, on the 13th of the month. Of 13th. This month, the 13th.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll see. Look at me remembering. So until next week, y'all, we say peace, love, and wholeness. Take care of yourself and keep your immune systems high. Peace, y'all. Hey, cutie.